All right, good evening, and welcome to episode 4 of Jam Sessions, the live music-centric talk show that brings you, the fans and viewers, the people behind the music. If you're watching the live recording on Twitch, please note that alerts will be muted, but will still show up and be acknowledged at the earliest opportunity. If you're watching this on YouTube via the Box Network, please like, share, and subscribe to the Box Network, the new talk show network covering comic, horror, anime, and music news. An easy way to show your love and support is to make that YouTube algorithm happy. Now, joining me tonight, we are talking about the up-and-coming alternative pop-punk band from Richmond, Virginia, Telltale. Joining me tonight is Tim and John. How are you guys doing tonight?
What's up? Good.
We're doing good, Alex. Appreciate you having us on.
So I noticed the Clifford flag behind you. Is there a story behind Clifford?
Yeah, dude. So I made it in art school, and I just try to constantly keep like new art around me whenever I'm like writing new music, which we're doing a lot of right now. So like my whole studio setup is like right behind what my laptop is sitting on right now. So I'll just like put new shit all around. I've got like some other paintings on the other side of the room, but Clifford was the addition of the day.
Okay. Is there a story behind Clifford, or are you just a fan?
So like, it's a really stupid story, honestly, but basically, like, when I was in art school, we got separated into these things called cohorts, and so there was red, blue, and green, and I was part of red, and it was finals week, and I was in that sort of, like, second year of college bender portion of my life, like, full transparency, and I did this the night before it was due, so that I could print it the next day. So it's really just a token to my procrastination more than anything.
Hey, sometimes some of the best work we ever make happens when we're like put under the wire, like we have a fire under our ass, and we're just like, okay, I gotta get this done.
Dude, so that's literally how we write our music. Like, we'll come into the studio, and I feel like our producer always expects us to have like 20, 30, 40 some odd demos, like some of these bands that'll cut like 100 tracks before they even walk into the studio, and we're walking in with like 4 things and a couple of riffs, and it's like, hey dude, let's just slam it out, it's fine. That's kind of our MO as a band too, but it seems to be working all right thus far.
It seems to be. Tim, how you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. You know, ate some chicken earlier, and we're just kicking it. So
there you
no
go.
Complaints.
Chicking it and kicking it. I like to hear that.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the biggest things that I wanted to bring up tonight was your recent label change. You guys, from what I remember, because like I found you guys relatively recently, within the last like year and a half, 2 years. And I remember Rose was the first song that I heard, and that shit was a banger, by the way. And then I thought it was pretty cool because I saw that you guys had signed on with Sharptone, which my buddies over in Savage Hands, they're also on Sharptone as well. And then as soon as I found that out, sure enough, like right just after, you guys switched record labels. I was wondering if you guys could talk on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was more of a mutual parting of ways. Especially it kind of came together just because of like COVID. You know, the timing was right around the time COVID kind of started, and we were kind of in the process of changing up our sound a little bit. So it was more of like a mutual separation. But we really love the Rude team. They've been completely transparent and just very upfront with us since day one. We feel very comfortable with all of their staff and just the vision they have for our band and as for us as individuals. So we're really excited to be working with them. And I think it'll be a great partnership moving forward.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
you guys mentioned a change in sound. What kind of direction are we going?
I mean, so I think we're definitely a little more rock-esque, a little more like radio rock, your like Octane sound, a little bit more palatable to like, I don't know, a different range of people. We definitely wanted to make music that sort of everybody can listen to.
Right.
And we found a lot of times that with pop punk, it's like such a niche genre. And I never want to like exclude anybody from our fan base, but just like it tends to kind of happen that way where people listen to it and it's like, well, this isn't my sound, this isn't for me. And like what we're doing now, I think sort of covers a broader horizon in that regard. And incorporates different sounds too, which kind of lends itself to that. Like, you know, we're working with like, you know, more of like hip hop flows, which is something I've always enjoyed kind of incorporating into like our verse mechanics. Heavier like riff-driven choruses, just like big music too. The thing we like always try to look towards when we walk into a studio is like, could you potentially someday down the road hear this in a stadium? And that's what I want out of a song. It's just thick and big, not necessarily like jumping off of the stage in a 200 cap room, but like the floor moving with just throngs of people. I mean, it's important to have aspirations, I guess.
I mean, maybe, just maybe. So with that in mind, I want to get kind of like more of a background on you guys. So we're going to go into some musical beginnings here. So we'll start with John. So when you, what was it like, you know, getting into music when at first? Like what really caught your eye, or rather your ears, when you were younger?
So I was a church kid, like a total church kid, sang in the choir the entire time growing up. And so when I got to middle school, I had my first opportunity to like actually be in a school choir. And so naturally, you know, that caught me a lot of guff, but it was super worth it. Got to do a whole lot of those like middle school musicals and that kind of thing. And that was actually when a couple of friends who were, you know, the more like, you know, skater punk types, and I was a total freaking nerd, which is a great way to be, honestly. They kind of pulled me aside and they were like, hey, like, what if you were singing pop punk music? I was like, shit, I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad gig. So I bought a bass guitar with like all the money I had put away in my bank account at the time and started this pop punk band that was basically just like Fall Out Boy and A Day to Remember covers, which I didn't even know. Like they had to show me all of these songs because I had never heard of these bands before in my life. And pretty much everything else just like fell in from there. But if it wasn't for those guys like pulling me out of school choir and putting me into the punk scene, I probably would have never actually like gotten into this genre of music.
That's fair. That's fair. I think for me, it wasn't until like probably just after high school that I really started to appreciate pop punk. Which is weird to say because I mean I do remember like Fall Out Boy, jamming out to Fall Out Boy early on and stuff like that. But that was pretty much it, other than like Newfound Glory and Blink-182 every now and then.
So I kind of like I got forced into it almost. It was like, hey dude, we have a gig coming up in April. It's the end of year school dance. This is the set list. You're gonna learn it. You're gonna be the sickest dude in the entire school. And I'm like, I mean, you can't pass that up. So
Yeah, that's
it was
fair.
sort of a do or die immersion into the scene.
Oh man, Tim, what about you?
Yeah, I started off listening to Aaron Carter, you know, as a kid.
There we go.
Pretty, yeah. But that eventually progressed into Linkin Park. The first CD I bought was Meteora. And then from there, just kind of built. I found Blink-182 kind of in middle school, as well as like Simple Plan, and then Fall Out Boy. You know, from When Under the Cork Tree came out, that was right when I was in middle school. So Sugar We're Going Down really spoke to me. And then from there, kind of just kept progressing. I have a good background in like classical rock too. My mom's a big fan of Creed. And my dad loves like Led Zeppelin and like, you know, Black Sabbath. So all of that combined, you end up getting what I now listen to, which is pretty much a mesh of like every genre. SoundCloud rap all the way to like, you know, Leonard Skinner, Kesha, August Burns Red. I really like anything that has just a solid flow or just anything that I can tell is just relatable from the artist. You know, they can write something kind of from the heart. It doesn't matter like what genre it is to me. So kind of my background.
It's kind of funny you mentioned the SoundCloud rappers because I feel like that's like a huge thing in the DMV area. having grown up in that area. Like we all know somebody who's like, yo, check out my SoundCloud, bro.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cool thing. John is into it too as well. Just it's cool to see like people be super like organic. I feel like with some of their music, like really just bumming it sometimes, like recording stuff through GarageBand and just like uploading it that night, like
Yeah.
just ripping like songs like constantly. So it's like it's just a cool thing that I kind of like to just bounce into every once in a while and check out, see what's going on.
Yeah. Now, did you guys both grow up in the DMV area? Like, have you guys been there most of your life, or?
I grew up Tidewater, Virginia, like down Newport News, Yorktown, Virginia Beach area. So I was primarily into like Virginia Beach hardcore and like that whole like South Side element, which actually, like from what I've heard, is kind of like, as I was coming up in it, a rival of like Richmond scene in that community. I don't know. It was like this whole thing. So when I moved to Richmond, I was kind of like on the opposite side of that. But guys like Tim and the rest of the band kind of helped me into that.
Yeah, I grew up in Richmond. I've lived here my whole life. I don't think we have any beef with anyone from the 757, but
not anymore. Maybe... like a back in the day.
Yeah, me and Tim were talking earlier before we started the stream where it's really weird because like being in the DMV area, music, no matter where I went, no matter who I spoke to, music had a place with pretty much everyone I met and talked to there. So it's really weird to like leave that area and see people like, oh yeah, I don't really listen to music that much. I'm like, who are you? Are you even a person? But no, I really love the DMV area for that reason. But moving on, I wanted to see, how did the recent pandemic affect you guys as a band, first off, and then we could go personal later.
Yeah, you can go, John.
We all just got really bored more than anything. Yeah. Like, I mean, we were all working on stuff individually, but just because we weren't really interacting with anybody else or, having the ability to actually go out and see each other face to face. I know a lot of bands were like doing it over FaceTime and sharing stuff. And I mean, we all run the same DAW when we're writing. We run Logic Pro, but just because we didn't have the face-to-face interaction, honestly, the desire kind of started to slip. And I think I can pretty much speak for everybody in the band when we hit a big creative block, just because there was just no personability happening there. There was just no level of human connection in the way that it would normally exist. And it takes a lot out of you. So that's kind of both band and personal, twofold. Yeah. The two kind of go hand in hand because, I mean, the band is a large portion of who we are as people, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I know, like, right before, everything kind of shut down, we had played a show up in Bel Air, Maryland with our friends, One Life to Lead.
Cherry Moore, shout out.
Yeah, Cherry Moore, shout out to them. But so we were kind of like essentially working on a bunch of kind of just working on kind of like a new record at the time, working on some new songs and just kind of looking for a new team somewhat as far as like management and stuff goes. So we were gearing up to tour like in the middle part of that year towards the fall, but it was just harder, I guess, just to keep motivated, especially when you don't have any shows on the horizon. And then we kind of had the label thing pop up, but overall, I mean, I'm glad we were able to make it through. And we have, new music obviously coming out really soon here. But it was a struggle there at the beginning just because nobody knew like what was really going to happen. But I feel more confident now, more confident in everybody's like, everybody mentally and physically. So I think it was a hard learning process, but I feel good about it.
Well, that's good. Another kind of like a question along the lines of COVID. Did you guys pick up any maybe like weird habits or like a skill set that you've always wanted to do, but then you didn't really have the time, and then COVID happened, and now all of a sudden you have all this time in the world. Did you pick up anything new?
I mean, for me, recording, honestly, Bryce, our guitarist, was the only one who could actually like run an interface in a DAW before COVID. And kind of over that time, I was just like, okay, so Bryce and I spend a lot of time writing music together. This is probably something I need to do. So I think now, slowly moving out of COVID, or, whatever you want to call this period of time with all this craziness going on.
Yeah.
It's made us better as songwriters together, as far as sharing ideas and kind of being able to send things back and forth. So that was the big learning moment of COVID, which I'm grateful for, definitely.
That's good. Tim, anything for you?
Yeah, I picked up playing golf.
There you go.
I thought was like a really like whack sport until I started hitting like at the drive shack and stuff. And just going out with a couple friends and playing, and it turns out I can drive the ball pretty well, so now I kind of do that for fun. But it was just a nice kind of relaxing thing to do, since it doesn't really require like a ton of people around you, and you can kind of do it in isolation. So that was probably the one thing I picked up.
That's pretty good. I've always wanted to get back into that, because for the most part it was just driving the golf cart around and having a few drinks. But next time I'm in the area, I might have to hit you up. I might go to the driving range.
Dude, we can all go.
Yeah,
I didn't even know you were golfing, dude. Like, how did I not know that?
I don't know. I've been golfing a little bit here and there.
All right, when I come back, we're gonna hit the course.
There you go. Band golfing trip. Just make the whole band go golfing.
And you're coming too.
Yeah, you're coming.
Hell yeah, let's go. I need to save up for golf stuff. But anyway, let's see. Let's move on to school dance bangers. This is something that I came up with on last week's episode. And it was really fun. I wanted to know, what was like your top 3 songs that you heard at the school dance where, all right, hold my fruit punch, I'm going in, I'm dancing my ass off.
For me, it was a couple different things. No Hands by Waka Flocka.
Okay.
Yeah, by Usher.
That's a classic.
It is, yeah. And then I don't know, maybe like I'm Just a Kid by Simple Plan for like the middle school vibes.
Okay. I like that.
Yeah. And then Kesha, I think Kesha was 2010s, but yeah, Kesha, TikTok. And yeah, I think that's about it. Maybe some Kevin Gates. I don't know if he was after that time or not, but big fan of Two Phones personally.
Oh shit.
6 Phone?
What? Oh yeah, he actually has 6 phones. We don't have enough time to go in depth on the theory of that, why he has 6 phones, but he has 6.
We might have to talk about that off stream, because that is very concerning. 6 phones.
This is an important conversation that I do hope we have after this episode.
I actually legitimately want to hear the story. John, what about you? What are your top school bangers?
So like the big one that I super remember, everybody always says the Anthem by Good Charlotte, but really though, it's Dance Floor Anthem. What is it? I Don't Want to Be in Love. That one's just, they got the disco beat going.
Yeah.
Probably Don't Stop Believing, because it's always like the last song of the dance for some reason, and like nobody's actually really dancing well. They're all just like standing in a circle with their friends holding hands, and it's kind of a vibe.
Yeah.
And then the third one, let's see. So I was in high school 2011 to 2015. That puts a date on me. So dude, I don't even know. Probably like some peak Katy Perry. I guess like Teenage Dream always kind of hit.
Yeah.
Anything from that record, honestly. That record was just phenomenal. The last great Katy Perry.
You bring up Katy Perry, and I just have to say this, and I hope Mike's not watching right now, but I remember back in When Cities Sleep, they did a cover of Katy Perry's Dark Horse. And,
I'm gonna text you right now.
Oh my god, it was actually pretty good though. It was actually pretty good, because I remember he had like a house show at his parents' place, and they performed it live there. And I remember like I had a few drinks and I was like, Mike, let me get on stage. Let me go. And there's like a picture on my Facebook. I'll have to find it for you guys later. But it's just like me on stage, like trying to get the crowd hyped up, and I'm like singing along with them. And everything.
Dude,
That's sick.
Caterett needs a good cover like that. Like they just need to hit like a really good like femme pop banger.
I think they're after like a few conversations about that, I feel like they're kind of like over covers now. I really want them. There's some songs out there I'm like, yo, they really should do this. They would do this justice, but it's just like, nah, dude, it's not us.
We have a full instrumental of an I'm So Sick cover sitting somewhere on somebody's hard drive that really needs to see the light of day, but I honestly don't ever think it's going to, which is super upsetting.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Still time.
Let's see. There is still time. There's always time. Especially if you have the file, you know, anyone can leak it. It is the age of technology. Let's see, direct influence. So what bands do you guys credit like a direct influence to your band's current style? As well as we've mentioned that you guys are kind of switching gears a little bit from what we've heard so far. So let's go from what we know right now. What were the direct influences, and then what were some direct influences of what we're about to hear?
Previously, I would have to say State Champs, or no, the story so far more so,
Okay.
that kind of vibe, maybe mixed with like some of Day to Remember, you know, Pregations, and then I don't know, just that vibe. What do you think, John?
I mean, from that era, I think that pretty much sums it up. Like those two bands combined gave birth to a lot of our sound, and then like a little bit of post-hardcore in there just for like some spice. You know, like one of the bands I really grew up listening to was Alexis on Fire, so just for like hook structure and like just some of like the general song structuring for the way we write. I think we've pulled from them a couple of times just for like reference tracks and stuff. Because like our overall sound's different enough from them that we can borrow influence in different ways. They're always a fun one. They've kind of gone into some of our new stuff too, though. They're just probably my favorite band. But
Yeah, they were definitely. Honestly, I wish they kept putting out more music. Like it's because Dallas Green's still doing City and Color, right? Like he just hit the boys up, hit the old boys up, and give us another like reunion album or something.
they did like 3 comeback singles, and they say there's gonna be another record, but I don't know. That has yet to be seen. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Let's see. Another thing I wanted to touch on within this direct influence. So who do you credit as like a direct influence to what your guys' roles are in the band? So like, let's start with John. Who is like one of your main influences as far as vocals?
Oh boy. Somebody recently told me that I don't sound like anybody else, and I don't think that. I mean, there's got to be people out there. I kind of have a high voice. I guess a little bit of Kellen Quinn in there if I'm going like super upper register, like at the end of Won't Be Me. Or like, I don't know, I was singing in the car the other day and they said like, you got a little bit of Steven Tyler in you, and that one made my heart melt. I almost started crying and crashed the car when they said that. I was like, this is real life. So I don't know, as far as like stage presence goes, after they said that, I would love to like channel more of that on stage, because it's like I don't have a guitar, and so many 4 pieces you do see like, you know, the vocalist, the center front man like having a guitar, and since I don't, you know, I'd love to have more of that like strutting around Mick Jagger style kind of arrogance, but I don't know if I quite have that level of conceitedness in me, but it certainly makes for a good show.
Yeah, it takes a certain level of ego to walk around the stage like that. Oh man, I can see in my head now. You're just like with the shoulders and everything.
Hey, maybe a couple shots of Goldschlager every night would get me there.
Oh man. Let's see, Tim, what about you?
I'd probably say Boston Manor. I just like their bass tones. From a more like, I guess, alternative rock perspective, I guess I pull a lot of influence from Rage Against the Machine, Tim Comerford. Has some really crazy bass lines on their first LP. So either one of those, you guys.
I like that. Let's see. All right. This is the fun part. We've already been having fun. This is the funner part. All right. Embarrassing moments. I want to know some of your top embarrassing moments, whether it was live, whether it was in the studio, whether it was just you guys hanging out. What are some super embarrassing moments that will stick with you for the rest of your life within the band?
Yikes.
All the like really good ones can never ever be said on camera.
That's fair.
Being 100% open. There's been a few, like the time we had the cops called on us for having like a band heart to heart in the van at 2 a.m. outside of some guy's house. Like we were supposed to be asleep in this guy's house at the time, but instead like I called everybody for this like little meeting because I was feeling some type of way. Things might have been involved. And so we're all sitting in the van, and just suddenly this cop car rolls up like right next to us, and we're just chatting, it's fun. They thought we had been doing illicit things, but we had not.
I mean, growing up in the area, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's kind of like the normal thing that goes through a cop's mind when they drive by a van full of people.
There have been a few kind of like embarrassing incidents like that where we were all messing around outside the van, and like I think it was Tim and I were joking that we were going to throw Travis into the trailer, and I guess so we were in a Walmart parking lot, and I guess somebody saw us like playing around, and so they called the cops. And so Travis had already been working on his hair, and it was a little bit longer at the time. And the cop pulls up, and he's like, "Hey, so we've had reports of you abducting a girl into your trailer." I'm like, "No, officer, no girls here." So that was a little bit embarrassment. I don't know, Tim, what else we got?
Yeah, I was gonna say that one where they thought we were abducting someone. That was pretty crazy. They like searched our whole van and trailer, and they're like, "All right, I guess there's no one in here." I'm like, "Yeah, I was asleep. Like, there's definitely no one in here." Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think.
You guys have any embarrassing like live moments?
Oh, all the time. Once a show.
Oh
I've
no!
like fallen down on stage before and like tried to do a handspring to get back up, which is definitely not in my acrobatic ability, and just spent like 30 seconds on the ground trying to get back up.
Oh no!
It was not great. That one might actually be the worst.
There's one time where I played like 2 songs. I think I tuned my bass down like a half step by accident. I don't know why, but I played like 2 songs like completely out of key, and I was like, all right, yeah, this ain't it.
Oh,
Luckily,
no.
there was not that many people there, but you know,
God.
I remember.
All right, let's see here. Moving on, we got top 3 bands or artists that you've been jamming to recently, and do they affect your current approach to your own music? If not, that's all good.
Tim, you go first. I gotta consult Spotify.
I was gonna say I had some artists for this, and I can't remember any of them.
Anything that's directly influenced you guys' new sound at all?
Not necessarily. I've been listening to this band Calling All Captains. They are on Equal Vision. They put out a pretty sick single I like. Gives me some old school, like 2013 pop punk vibes.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been liking that a lot. I've been listening to Nav recently. That has nothing to do with anything we like record, obviously, because he's more of like doing his own thing. And then Let Go by Avril Lavigne. I been jamming that one. That one's a hit and a half.
Nice.
So, yeah.
For me, I guess like a band that's informing our sound a little bit is Paris. Just because like they add a lot of production element into their work, which I always love. I'm always the one gunning for like production heavy tracks, and the other guys have to rein me back in. But just like overall dark quality of it And just kind of that like foreboding element where there's always like, you know, the tense strings in the background and just, you know, there's this general vibe overall to it. Definitely Paris. Who else have I been vibing on? My buddy Joey's solo stuff is super freaking fire and nobody knows about it yet, but it's like super pop centric and like doing all the right pop stuff. It's oh shoot, I'm working on a head cold. Joey from I Have, Joey Fleming. Dude, his solo shit is just chef's kiss. And then probably Corpse. I've been really on Corpse lately. I don't know if you've listened to him. You know who he is?
Corpse Husband?
Yeah, Corpse Husband.
Yeah, I'm familiar. It's just not really,
like,
not really my. I don't know. I like the music of it, but that deep voice gets me every time. I'm just like, oh god, oh god.
I just like the idea of not having a face at all and like just being a persona. Like Nothing Nowhere kind of did it. And like, I mean, to be perfectly honest, I like Nothing Nowhere's music a lot better than Corpse Husband.
Yeah.
But like, Corpse Husband has fully just created music with no personal identity attached to him.
Yeah.
Like, even like Marshmello and the big DJs with the masks have been figured out. Like, everybody knows who they are. But Corpse is still, it's like, who is this guy?
I feel the same way about Sleep Token. Have you been listening to them?
So we actually we met Sleep Token.
Oh.
When they were on tour with, they did a U.S. tour with like Polyphia and Lil Aaron.
Oh, I think I remember seeing about that.
Yeah,
Issues.
and so they, our former manager was their manager at the time. I don't know, some stuff. Shout out Sale. Anyway, so he like took us back there to meet him, and so they all come back and they like take off their masks, and like these guys look nothing like you think they're gonna look like.
Really?
And I'm just like, y'all have built a brand, and I fuck with it.
That's
Super
dope.
heavy.
I don't think I've ever spoke to anyone who's actually met them, so that's actually pretty cool.
I mean, I think that's the only U.S. tour that they've done.
Okay.
Yeah,
Now
they
I
like.
wanna know. Now I want to know. I want to see if I can find pictures.
I don't think you'd be able to, just because like apparently, they came out like in the crowd, like at like or around, and they look like this, like nope, like you wouldn't recognize them obviously because you don't know what you're looking for, but like they change into like some different stuff too, so they're just like kind of doing their own thing, and it's like pretty cool, but. They did say some guy like kind of stalked them and figured out who one of them was. Like, yeah, I don't know how he did, but some guy did, and then they like ran away because it was weird. But yeah,
That's wild. It's cool to think though that they can do something like that and just like, because like normally when you do stuff, you kind of want, there's a part of you that wants that recognition, and like you want to be known. So for them to just be like, you know what, fuck it, we're just gonna go on and pretend like we're not even there. It's wild. Let's see here. So I wanted to open this moment for you guys to talk about what you guys have coming up.
definitely.
New album 2022 for
Okay.
sure. No doubts on that one. Like hard facts. New music in the next 90 days, if I'm allowed to say that. Maybe sooner, but definitely in the next 90.
Okay.
And probably some more stuff to follow this fall. Only thing I can't really talk about is shows. So
That's fair. Yeah, I'm not even gonna try and push that. Tim, you got anything else you'd like to share?
I don't think so. We've just been hard at work, knocking out stuff for this next release. Track some videos the other week and whatnot. So it's coming. We appreciate everyone that's continuously supported us through the pandemic, before the pandemic, before we were any signed type of band or anything. So just know that's coming, and we've all been working really hard just to keep generating music and keep working on our sound. So appreciate everybody.
also
Now, are you
drink
guys-
water.
Oh yes.
I always try to throw that in there. Like people, so I didn't drink enough water until like probably 6 months ago, and nobody drinks enough water. So just.
Oh, these are facts. These are hard facts. I've gotten to a point where like I know when I have been slipping because I've gotten to a point where it's like my body will literally just start going like, hey, things aren't so good right now. You might want to drink some water. Like today was so bad because last night was date night, and we watched the Suicide Squad. We had a couple of hard seltzers, and throughout the whole entire day, I was not drinking enough water because we were out at the beach and stuff like that. And I was just like, this morning, I woke up with the worst headache, and it didn't go away until about maybe like 2 hours ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It was rough. So yes, I second that. Drink water, people, please.
Yep.
Alrighty. So we're gonna close it up tonight. That concludes tonight's episode of Jam Sessions. At this time, I'm going to roll out the virtual red carpet for my guests. Let the viewers know what you guys got going on in your life, musically, personal, anything you want to share.
I just moved to a new city. I live in Nashville now. If you want to be friends, be my friends. I'm on the internet at John_Caterett with an extra T. Let's make friends and also not go to the bars. Let's do like some cool stuff, like see the Parthenon and make snow angels, even though Nashville never gets snow. I don't know. We'll find things.
Tim, how about you?
Yeah, I just started a new job, so that's fun.
Nice.
Yeah, so again, if anybody would like to hang out, I'm normally available. I also don't really like going out to bars. I'm more of like a drink 40s on the couch with your friends person. But if anybody ever wants to kick it, yeah. Anybody ever wants to kick it, just let me know. I'm here, not doing anything.
We've all kind of gotten to that point where, growing up in the DMV area, you guys can either agree or disagree, but drinking was kind of brought on a little bit earlier on. So by the time you're actually old enough to go to bars and do all that stuff, it kind of was just like, I'd rather not, because it's overpriced. You're gonna end up just hating yourself. You might make some dumb moves. You might as well just have a bunch of people you trust and just hang out and watch a movie or just like play pool or something at your house.
Yeah, pretty much. That is the vibe.
Yeah, I feel that. Alrighty, well there you have it, everyone. Thank you again for joining me tonight. Those of you watching the live recording here on Twitch, thank you so much for hanging out with us. And if you're watching the recording on YouTube and you enjoy the show and you want to see more of it, please, please, please like, share, and subscribe, because my co-host on Comic Relief will kill me if I don't get our numbers up. Anyway, tomorrow we have an episode on YouTube. We are going to be covering the Suicide Squad. We're going to do a full breakdown and review with our special guest, Big 75, Husky 75, who earlier in this show gifted 5 subs. Thank you so much, Husky. I appreciate that. But yes, if you would like to keep up to date, we are now on Twitter, Instagram, and we have a Discord channel. That's where we're hosting this little show here. So yeah, please go ahead and click the links in the description box down below. I'll also have a link to one of their. You guys have a preferred music video you guys would like me to share? I've been raving about Rose. That's one of my favorite songs.
Let's rock it. That one needs some views.
There we go. We'll rock Rose. We're gonna have a link in the description box for Rose by Telltale, and we got some new stuff coming up, and we are looking forward to it. But yes, absolutely. Once again, thank you for joining me, guys, and I will catch you guys next week. Peace.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers.